Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamunate Ravanachari Yamunate Ravanachari Radha Madhava Javiyari Radha Madhava Javiyari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadramai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Gaurangi Randoresha Gaurangi Randoresha Gaurangi Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Nam Sankirtanam ki. Is it visible? This is 1.8.8. Oh, Bhagavatam. So there are almost 8 verses given to me. So we'll read translations and all and purports of couple of them. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishaki. This comes in the Queen Kunti section. Just before the prayers begin is this section. Kantum Kritamatir Brahman Dwarakam Vratamastita Upalebe Bidavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vivvalam Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dwarakam Vratamastita Upalebe Bidavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vivvalam Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dwarakam Vratamastita Upalebe Bidavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vivvalam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwaraka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord, and therefore the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone. Please hear this. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. Okay? The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Give me 1 minute. Uttara vacha pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvad abhayam pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. These two shlokas, other shlokas, we'll just read the translation. Uttara said, please protect me. Protect me. Sorry. Okay. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me. Protect me. For there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. O my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. Suta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. Purport. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. The Pandava family was a family of devotees. Therefore, the Lord wanted them to rule the world. That was the reason he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhan and established the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Therefore, he also wanted to protect Maharaj Parikshit, who was lying in embryo. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotees. So especially first line is very significant. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. Oh, foremost amongst the thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. The Almighty Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disc to protect them. The Brahmastra, the supreme weapon released by Ashwatthama, was something similar to the nuclear weapon, but with more radiation and heat. The Brahmastra is a product of more subtle science, being the product of a finer sound, mantra recorded in the Vedas. The Pandavas were 100% dependent on the protection of the Lord, although they were all great warriors themselves. But the Lord neglects even the greatest warriors and also vanquishes them in no time. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, he took up his weapon, even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as Bhaktavatsala, or the lover of his devotee. Thus, he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. The Lord is supreme. The Lord of supreme mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. O Shaunaka, glory of Bhrugu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuroन्मीलितं येन Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Nidita Shri Vishakanitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Devata Swami Nitinamane Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Vardayane Aurakata Dhamadaya Gurukamatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Gire Yatkripa Tamam Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarine Paramanand Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Vishnu Hare Krishna. Let's give me 1 minute. So this section of Bhagavatam highlights many themes, but we look at one particular theme now. Around 5 to 6 themes in this whole discussion that we just went through. So in the material world, so if in this context, if you happen to see, so Parikshit Maharaj is about to get killed, okay? And no, his mother Uttara, there, no, she's running after the Supreme Lord, trying to ask or beg the Lord for protection of the child. Okay, so this is a great glory on the spiritual path. That is actually dependence on the Supreme Lord. Okay, in the material world, no, if you are seen to be dependent on somebody, then you are taken to be like a fool only. Okay, taken to be like a fool only for that matter. Okay, let us say you don't know something, you ask somebody about it and all. In the material world, it's considered very foolish. Okay? But in the spiritual, no, in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual circles, no, this dependence on the Supreme Lord is actually considered very glorious. So, no, the disciple or the devotee, no, not knowing anything in relation to how to serve Krishna, so he approaches the guru or the senior devotees to learn, no, how to serve Krishna for that. Okay? So, in the material world, how is it? You want to learn something or you want to get something from somebody. Okay, you take something from him, then you pay something in return. Okay? But in spiritual circles, okay, we can only take only. Okay, because there is nothing in the material world which you can equate to the value of the spiritual message that we actually get. Okay, be it from the spiritual master or from other devotees, etc., etc. Okay, so this verse comes. Can open 422.47. Okay? Please repeat after me. ये रीदृशीर भगवतो गतिरात्मवादा. Open 422.47. Fourth canto, 22nd chapter, 47. हे रीदृशीर भगवतो गतिरात्मवादा. एकांततो निगमभि प्रतिपादिताना. तुष्यन्तत प्रकरणो स्वकितेन नित्यम्. को नाम तत्प्रतिकरोति विनोदपात्रम्. Somebody can read translation. Yeah. Such great personalities can be satisfied only by their own activities. Okay. So, how can such persons who have rendered unlimited service by explaining the path of self-realization in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and whose explanation are given for the enlightenment and with complete conviction and Vedic evidence be repaid except by folded palms containing water for their satisfaction? So this message that we actually get in the parampara, so there is practically nothing that which we can actually repay. If you read this purport, there Prabhupada says, one who thinks that he can actually repay the debts which he owes to the spiritual master, he actually a joker, Prabhupada says. Okay. Anytime you open fourth canto, search for joker, you will come over. Okay. This verse. Okay. So this is actually very, very glorious on the path of spiritual life. Okay. That this quality of dependence, be it on the senior devotees or on the spiritual master, is very, very glorious. Practically, if you see from the beginning of Bhagavatam till the end, okay, you will see these qualities being exemplified by everybody. If you take Parikshit Maharaj for that matter, so he was told, no, in 7 days, you'll be killed by this snake. That time, no, he didn't open Google to search, what is the solution, how should I overcome, or is there some YouTube video for this by which, I'll be able to overcome, etc., etc. Okay. He just understood, no, this is the will of providence, this is the will of the Supreme Lord, and he depended completely on the Lord's mercy on. Okay. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports that Parikshit Maharaj was fully, he was fully potent to counteract the curse. Okay. Counteract the curse, and curse is stringy only for that matter. Okay. But he understood there is no point. Then it becomes like a fight where just cats and dogs are just fighting for no good purpose for that matter. Okay. He understood this to be the will of the Lord, and he accepted that I need to be dependent on the Lord, and that will give me the ultimate perfection. So basically, in spiritual life, what begins with proper sense of regular consultancy with senior devotees and with the spiritual master ends up in love of Godhead. Okay, ends up in love of Godhead for that matter. Okay? So very, very crucial. Even in what we were studying, Guhyam Akyati Prachati. Okay, if you see, Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, Vidura Maitreya, Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni and Vasudev. All this is the context of Guhyam Akyati Prachati. Okay, where two devotees are coming, one senior and one junior, and they are discussing how to serve the Supreme Lord better. Okay, the junior devotee is actually taking proper guidance, and on the strength of this guidance, from basic facts of spiritual life, he advances up to the stage of love of God. Okay, up to the stage of love of God. Okay. So this aspect of dependence that comes in spiritual life is very, very glorious. It's very, very glorious for that. In the outside world, people are just dependent on Pratyaksha Praman and Anuman Praman. Okay. But when one understands the glory of Shabda Praman, then he understands the glory of this quality of dependence that comes in the spiritual life. Material world, only there is competition. Okay, rise to the peak and become the topmost person. And even in Prabhupada times, that Japanese printer, what was the name? Who printed this Macmillan edition Bhagavad Gita? Starts with a D. Anybody remembers? Book printer. Okay. So Prabhupada was at his office. Okay. Then one person was there. Prabhupada discussed finishing, finalizing the deal and all of it. After that, Prabhupada was talking to one of the persons who were there. Okay. Then he asked him, what is the goal of your life? Okay. Then there are many visiting cards kept over there, one after the other. Okay. His visiting card was somewhere in the below. Then he took the visiting card from there, he put it on the top as such. This is the goal of my life. So basically, he wanted to become the topmost person in the whole of the organization. Okay. So this is what is the material world. Okay. So let us say someone is portraying a sense of dependence on somebody, or portraying a sense of connection with somebody in terms of dependence, then he is considered to be a miserable person. Okay. But in the material world, someone is into competition, someone is like fighting, someone is like overcoming somebody, someone is overtaking somebody and all. He is considered to be a king. He is considered to be a very, very glorious person. Okay. That is what is the understanding in the material world. But in the spiritual life, actually, it is completely opposite. Even if you happen to see the Varnashama for that matter, okay, the growth practically from, if you take Grahastha life, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, all this is basically the aspect of dependence over there. Okay. Sannyasi is expected to be completely dependent on the will of the Lord. Okay. He has to just walk from place to place, give scriptures to people, and apart from that, just be dependent on the will of the Lord for his own maintenance. Nothing else apart from that. Okay. So Vedic culture as such was completely opposite. No? Modern times it's more of competition, but Vedic culture was completely based on this quality of dependence. Okay? It was considered to be very, very glorious actually to be dependent on no, be it on the Supreme Lord or one's elders, and no, lead one's life as per those values. Okay? Now basically, no, this live-in culture or so many of these other things, no, they portray a sense of independence. Portray a sense of independence in terms of one's existence. Okay? Even if you see the classifications, no, you can very well see how the quality of dependence actually relates to devotional service. Okay? As on today, no, very less no, portion of the population is actually taking to devotional service, because most population, no, they have not understood the glory of this quality of dependence. Okay? You see the 4 classes that are made as per Varnashama, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So what is the crucial difference that comes between them? Of course, many differences are there. Huh? Modes, yeah. In which modes they are? Yes. Apart from that, can you repeat? Duties. Okay, duty. There is difference in duty. Something else? Spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge. Okay. Okay, Brahmanical intelligence. Yeah. So specifically, if we happen to see now, the first 3, okay, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, they exhibit this quality of dependence to a very high degree. But this, the 4th class of Shudras, they are just dependent on the higher classes. Okay. So in Kali Yuga, what has happened? No, this quality. So Brahmana as such, no, he is maintained only by charity. Kshatriya is maintained by taxes. Vaishya as such is maintained by profits for that. Okay. Only Shudra as such, no, he is maintained by salary. And in this whole age of Kali Yuga, how are people maintained? Yeah, salary only for that. Okay. So practically for that matter, the whole of population, if you happen to see, no, their way of understanding or their way of looking at life is, so I am working, so I need to be paid. I am working, I need to be paid for that matter. So why God is needed? I'm working, I get paid. So why God is needed? This is what is their sense of thought process. Okay? But especially if you happen to see, so all these 3 classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, so they were actually dependent on the Lord just for their livelihood also for that. Okay? Vaishya was into Krishi, Go, Raksha, Vanijyam. So for the agriculture to happen properly, the Supreme Lord only has to orchestrate so many factors. Okay? The weather has to be proper, the rains should be on time, and the crop should not be hit by this locust infection, etc., etc. Okay? So many of these factors are basically orchestrated by the Supreme Lord only. Okay? That is in relation to Vaishya. Same way Kshatriya for that matter, okay, the enemy who will attack him, and his own strength of military and the way he actually administers the society, all this actually dependent on the Supreme Lord. Same way Brahmana as such, no, he only lives on charity. Okay? If something comes to him, even if something extra comes or a bountiful of fortune he gets, he is only expected to take what is needed for him, and rest everything he has to again distribute to the society. Okay? So these 3 classes basically, they exhibited this quality of dependence, and on the strength of that dependence, they actually experienced spiritual growth. On the strength of their dependence, they actually experienced spiritual growth or spiritual realizations. Okay? So even in our spiritual life, see, spiritual life cannot be like a theoretical, mundane, just dragging along kind of a thing. If it is like this, then it can go on for some years. After that, we'll feel very, very bored. Okay? Someone has to he has to actually have this quality of dependence on the Supreme Lord to actually experience the juice in spiritual life and experience spiritual realizations for that matter. Okay? Even for that matter, simple sadhana bhakti also. Okay? You go and tell the outside world that daily 2 hours I sit and chant Hare Krishna. No, daily 1 hour I sit and read Srimad Bhagavatam. Daily I attend Bhagavatam class. No, then I do service for the Lord, etc., etc. Okay? Oh, they'll think you are crazy only. Oh, you went mad. You need to go to doctor for that matter. Okay? So try to understand 24 hours is there. In those 24 hours, okay, 8 hours is gone for the body, 8 hours goes for office or college. Rest remains is 8 hours. In that, no, let's say something will be there on an ad hoc basis. So 8 plus 8, 16 plus 2 goes into how much? 18 hours. Okay. Plus remaining 6 hours, no, that goes maybe in terms of academics or something related to office. No, you have to give time to your loved ones. All of these factors. Okay. Apart from that, whatever remains, maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, everything you are given to Krishna. Okay? Nobody in the whole, if you see the whole population as on today, they're not ready to do it all. Okay? And as devotees, basically, strict sadhana, displays or portrays this quality of dependence. Okay? Someone who actually observes strict sadhana in his life, because it's not a joke, daily, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, someone has to be very, very strict with his sadhana and is not doing that sadhana with a sense of dependence on the Lord, then he'll not feel any sense of juice coming over there. Okay? And we know rasa he'll experience in that sadhana bhakti. Okay? So even to do sadhana bhakti, what do you say? Day after day, week after week, decade after decade, etc., etc. So one has to actually be dependent on the Supreme Lord. Okay? And experience that sense of reciprocation coming in terms of holy name, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., etc. Okay? If that is not happening, then one will not experience that sense of rasa that comes. Okay? So even this aspect of strict sadhana, sadhana bhakti that Prabhupada has actually designed is actually based on this quality of dependence. Okay? Because you have to be dependent on the Supreme Lord to actually consider him coming in the form of holy name, reciprocating with you in the form of holy name, etc., etc. Okay? So as I was telling, so Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Yeah? So Kali Yuga by and large, Kalo Shudra Sambhava. Everyone as such will be a Shudra dependent only on salary, only on salary for that matter. Okay? So, but in the Vedic times, Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishyas, they were actually dependent on the Supreme Lord. Okay? And the Shudras, knowing this factor, that here are a class of people who are dependent on the Supreme Lord. And if I serve them, this quality of dependence will come into my life also. Okay? With that sense of respect, they are actually serving the higher classes. Okay? But as of today, everybody as such has boiled down to the Shudra platform only. So no one experiences this sense of dependence. Yeah. So Vedic culture, practically, even if you see every aspect of Vedic culture, this factor of dependence was there. Let's say, young girl is there, she wants to get married, young boy is there who wants to get married. They'll approach their parents, then the parents will find a suitable match. After that, the marriage will happen. Okay? Even in India, as on today, this culture is still prevalent. But particularly major population of the whole world, if you consider, no one thinks of this also. No one has this understanding also for that. Even in the Bhagavatam, if you happen to see, you can see so many examples. In the first canto of Bhagavatam, we'll see the example of Bhishma Dev and Vidura. Okay? See, try to understand. Let's say, you have to travel by bus or travel by train or something like that. Okay? Even when we try to do that, we find so much of difficulty to chant our rounds. All of you agree? How many of you disagree? Okay, nobody. Okay. So even as we just go in a bus or go in train, in that kind of a situation only, we find so much of trouble just to finish our rounds. Okay, you take the position of Bhishma Deva or Vidura. Okay? They were staying among such people who were into gross politics against the Pandavas. Okay? Complete gross politics, wanting to hurt the devotees, wanting to kill the devotees, wanting to put the devotees on fire, etc., etc. Okay? Now, try to understand their position and try to make out the quality of dependence in their life. Because Bhishma, on the strength of his advancement, on the strength of his dependence on the Supreme Lord, on the strength of the fact that he was convinced, if I take this role in service to Krishna, taking the opposite party in fighting with him, okay, that will actually give pleasure to the Lord. That will actually give pleasure to the Lord. With this sense of connection or dependence on the Supreme Lord, so Bhishma Dev and Vidura were actually serving. Okay? Of course, in our lives, we can handle politics, we can handle administration to a certain degree. Okay, but we can actually understand these great devotees who were able to do to such a great degree. We can actually understand what would have been their heart filled with dependence on the Supreme Lord's mercy for that. Okay, same way, if you take Parikshit Maharaj, that I mentioned. Okay? Opposite example of this will be Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra as such experienced no sense of dependence only. Unless Vidura came and awakened that sense of dependence on the Supreme Lord. He told him, you're like a dog staying in somebody's home and eating the remnants that are just thrown on the floor over there. Then Dhritarashtra had some awakening. Prabhupada says in that context, in those days there was only one Dhritarashtra. But in today's world, there are so many Dhritarashtras. Okay? Everybody as such, they just want to, at the end of old age, no one is like our, His Grace Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, who just goes on increasing his service for Prabhupada and for all the devotees. Everybody just wants to go to Lions Club, Rotary Club, and then they'll go to hell only for that matter. Yeah, everyone as such, just wants to go to Rotary Club, Lions Club, etc., etc. No one wants to actually increase, their spiritual acumen. No one wants to make this, their last life in the material world. Okay, so we have to understand this quality of dependence is very, very crucial. Okay? If one is not experiencing or one is not dependent on the Supreme Lord, or one is not increasing his dependence on the Supreme Lord, then basically his dependence on is on his own strength. Okay, either on his own physical strength, or on his own financial strength, or on his own intellectual strength, or on his own so many of these strength, political strength, etc., etc. Okay, which at the time of death, none of this will be useful. Okay, now let's say someone has gathered maybe some 100 crores or something like that in his life. At the end of this happened also during the COVID period, when COVID just started off, when this Covaxin and all had not come. Some MP or MLA, I think in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, I don't remember. Okay, so his worth was 200 crores. 200 crores he had gathered, so much of money and all. Okay? How he had gathered, so scientists are still trying to find out. Okay? So all that money he had gathered, okay? But Covaxin and all, none of these vaccines had actually come. Okay, and somehow the other he got infected by that COVID-19 virus, and after that, no, he couldn't help it. No, he just passed away. What is the worth of those 200 crores? At least he would have given in charity to some temples and all. Maybe he would have gained something. Okay? But practically nothing as such he did. No, and no, mostly because of all the sins he would have committed as a politician, he might go to hell only. Okay, so someone who's not basically increasing his sense of dependence on the Supreme Lord, he'll be just increasing his sense of dependence on financial factors, on his intellectual factors, etc., etc., etc. Okay, but at the end of his life, practically none of this, will be useful. Practically none of this will be useful for that matter. Okay, sometimes it might happen at the end of the life, or sometimes it might happen in the same life only. Okay, so this one great, huge, rich, person is there. He's an oil baron, I think they're addressed as. Okay, Rockefeller. Okay, so what happened in his case was that his son basically traveled to Africa, and he entered the African jungles just to have some adventure, some kick in his life and all. Then the Aborigines, they caught him. Okay? Cannibals. Cannibals means they eat human flesh as such. Okay? So they thought, okay, American fellow coming, new tasty flesh as such, American flesh as such. Okay, so they caught him and they beheaded him, and they burnt him alive, and they ate him over there. Okay, so from that day onwards, this person, John D. Rockefeller, his name was, he was miserable, okay? Literally miserable. During his time, this is like in the 19th century. Just like we have in the 20th, 21st century, we have these people, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and all. So these are those people in the 19th century. He became like utterly miserable in his life, utterly miserable. Okay, same way that person who owns this, Boeing company. Okay, so each Boeing plane and all these airplanes, they'll cost like 200 crores, 150 crores, and all. Okay, and to make one also, it takes like 8 or 10 years. Okay, so this industry earns like anything. So even this person, Boeing, one person went to him and he was taking an interview. Okay? There he was asking him, so, no, like you are on top of the world, you're earning so much of money, you should be enjoying like anything, he was telling. Then, no, this person, Boeing, replied, no, I want to go to the toilet. Then he thought maybe he didn't understand what he was telling. Okay, no, that you are enjoying so much, you have earned so much. Oh, so I wanted to know what is it you're actually feeling. Then he said, I want to go to the toilet. Okay. Then later he explained that no, I have some kind of chronic problem. That no, I don't get my nature's call properly. Okay? Because of which, whenever I get, I have to answer it very badly for that matter. So I have to go to the toilet. Then he went to the toilet and came back. This is a miserable condition, because all that money and all he would have just employed in sin only. All those sinful reactions were troubling him like anything. Please open this purport. 8.3.17, Gajendra section. The Prabhupada writes something very, very interesting. Now we can understand how kind is the Supreme Lord. Please repeat after me the verse. Madrik prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namolayaya swamshena sarvatanu brin manasi pratita pratyak trishe bhagavate brihate namaste. Yeah, somebody can read translation. Yeah. Okay. So in the purport, so if you go to the last section, somebody else can read. Only Krishna can deliver us from this material existence. Yeah. Okay. So he is unlimitedly merciful. Even without we offering our prayers or something or asking him for our deliverance, he is actually planning for our deliverance. That is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Now, what to speak if we actually develop that sense of relationship with the Supreme Lord and experience this kindness or this mercy that comes. Okay. As Prabhupada is writing over here, it is the reluctance of the conditioned soul that stops him. Okay. But if we actually approach the Supreme Lord with this sense of dependence, this sense of relationship, then actually he is extremely merciful. Okay. And Gajendra section, there he displays one more kind of dependence. So he was dependence on his relatives. Okay. So he was there in the water. His leg was caught by this crocodile. Crocodile's name was Hoo. No, Hoo. So who caught the leg of Gajendra, and Gajendra was somehow trying to free himself. Okay. At that point of time, he was thinking mostly his wife will come, mostly his son will come, mostly his relatives will come. They'll get into the water. No, I have given my body to my son for that matter. Sorry, I have given a body to my son. One leg of that body, maybe he can sacrifice and release my leg. All these thoughts were coming to Gajendra motion. Okay. Finally, nobody came. Okay. So it is described for 1,000 years. He kept fighting. He kept fighting for that matter. And before also, in the beginning time when he was bitten by that crocodile, so nobody as such came to help him. Okay. So this is a classic, pastime which displays that apart from the Supreme Lord, practically nobody else in the whole creation can help us. Practically nobody else in the whole creation can help us for that matter. Okay. If we don't get this conviction by practice of spiritual life and all, then basically at the end of the life, it will be a very miserable state. Again, just getting into another body. Again, the cycle of birth, old age, disease, death, adhyatmik, adi bhautik, adi daivik kleshas, etc., etc. Okay. Even in the case of Prahlad Maharaj, so one day, Hiranyakashipu takes Prahlad Maharaj on his lap. Okay. Then we can see what Prahlad Maharaj replies. Then we can understand what is his level of dependence. Okay. There, Hiranyakashipu asks him, "Oh, my dear child, you have been going to school. Now, what is it that you actually learned in school?" Then Prahlad Maharaj, what he replies, anybody knows? And that is one. One more is this. Okay. Please repeat after me. All of you know this verse. Shri Prahlada Uvacha Sadhu Manne Suravarya Dehina Sada Samudvigna Diyama Sagraha Hitvadmapatam Grihamanda Kupam Vanam Gatoya Dharimashayeta. Don't try this at home. But we can understand, no? So, to what degree was Prahlad Maharaj actually having faith in the Supreme Lord? Okay, that and one more thing we can actually understand from Prahlad Maharaj. No, he's not telling his father, "No, you rascal, you demon," and things like that. He's calling him as Asuravarya. Okay, Tat Sadhu Manne Suravarya Dehina. Okay, so even with such a degree of respect, he's addressing his father who had put him into so much of trouble. Okay. He had trampled him with elephants. Anybody here has trampled by an elephant? True? Okay, you're trampled by a vehicle, you got some fracture or something? Oh, nobody, no? Happened, no? Okay. So that is why, when we understand the details that Bhagavatam mentions, he's trampled by an elephant, he's thrown in a pit of snake. Anybody here bitten by snake? Okay, one devotee. Anybody here bitten by scorpions? Okay, one more. Okay. So these used to be like a regular affairs. No? If you like live in a village and all, no, these used to be like quite regular. People getting bitten by snake, people getting bitten by scorpions, etc. etc. Okay. So such people, when they used to understand that Prahlad Maharaj is thrown in a pit of snakes, no, he's thrown in fire, he's thrown in like what do you say? No, he's trampled by elephants, he's thrown from the cliff into the ocean. How many of you know swimming? Okay, okay. At least you know what does it mean to jump into the water. But it's not like very small height, not some 3 feet, 5 feet, what we have in swimming pool. You go from the cliff only for that matter. Okay. Why I'm telling you this? Looking at all these details, we can understand, despite all of this, okay, despite Prahlad Maharaj undergoing all of this, still is remaining a well-wisher in relation to Hiranyakashipu. In relation to Hiranyakashipu. Okay. So we can understand, no, because of his dependence on the Supreme Lord, no, his heart is still able to be a well-wisher despite all these obstacles. Despite all these obstacles for that matter. Yeah. So even the details that Bhagavatam mentioned, they're very, very crucial. And to understand them, proper purpose is to say, scrutinizingly, one has to study my books. Same way, if you take the case of Lord Shiva for that matter, so his connection or his dependence in relation to Krishna was so much. He's being insulted by Daksha, and both the parties over there, they start fighting like cats and dogs for that matter. Okay, but Lord Shiva, he understands there is nothing significant happening over here. In fact, he was pained in his heart that people here without a spiritual purpose, they're just wasting their energy and all, just fighting among themselves for nothing for that matter. Okay, and Lord Shiva, just being dependent on the will of the Supreme, he just leaves that place. Okay, why people in Kali Yuga are so get flared up when they face little insult or little inconvenience and all of that, because they don't have any higher purpose in life. Lord Shiva as such faced such a grievous insult from Daksha, and he was just able to wave it off and just continue in relation to his Krishna consciousness. Okay? Hardly he did not pay any heed to it, because that was not at all an important event in his life. More important for him was to chant his rounds or to study Bhagavatam, etc. etc. Then he left that place to do it. Left that place to do it for that. Okay? So very, very crucial to actually understand, as I previously explained, that even the aspect of sadhana bhakti, that itself strict and sincere sadhana bhakti, that itself shows the quality of dependence in a sadhaka's heart. Okay? If a person is not dependent on the Supreme Lord, then he will not be able to practice the sadhana bhakti strictly also. Okay? Strictly also for that matter. Okay? See, in the outside world, there is a saying, time is money. Time is money for that matter. Okay? And here you are giving 2 hours, 3 hours in relation to spiritual life. How much money you are losing? Outside people will go crazy only because they are dependent on their own self. They're not dependent on the Lord. They're dependent on their skills. They're dependent on their own abilities to make money. Okay. But we as devotees, we should have to, eventually this will be tested. Okay. Whether we are just doing it casually or whether actually we are doing it with a sincere heart. Okay. So those people who actually do sadhana bhakti with a sincere heart, eventually when these tests come, they'll be able to pass it. Okay. If not, some small obstacle comes in life, then financially we can't compromise, relationship we can't compromise. Okay, what has to be compromised? Spiritual life. Then people give up chanting, give up Bhagavatam, give up association of devotees, etc. etc. Okay. Okay, so I'll conclude over here. If there are any questions, I'll take. If not, we'll sing 2 songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in relation to this. Then we'll conclude for today. Okay, no questions? Yes. Can't hear you. Okay. Yeah, that is why Prabhupada said preaching is the essence. So if we are having some kind of preaching initiatives in our life and all, then always you will find the sense of dependency on the Lord, and it keeps growing also. That is the devotee should be doing something in this direction, either maybe distributing Prabhupada books, or going out and cultivating people, etc., etc. So there, when you try to do that, you will understand if you have to help people with a devotion, you will be only be able to do that if you have a deep dependence on the Lord, because it is Lord only who will be able to awaken devotion in their hearts. We can only pray that this person is there who has come over here. Oh, my Lord, please help him to chant. My Lord, please help him to develop a sense of relationship with you. Help him to develop a sense of connection with association of devotees, etc. So that becomes like a continuous affair, provided you are continuously preaching. Or let's say you are doing book distribution. You show some book to somebody. You don't know what is the reply. He might open, you might take out some gun, or so much you cannot expect in India. But no, that is not a fact. That is a fact that you can't some gross estimate you might be able to do based on your past experiences, that okay, this person might reply like this person might reply like that, but you can't exactly predict as such. You understand, no? So basically that thrill in the heart brings about that dependence over there. So unless we are put in a risky situation, that dependence never comes, it never grows. Right? Then as we progress in spiritual life, then dependence becomes natural for us. Because serving Krishna becomes natural for us, so dependence also becomes natural for us. The Prabhupada said, no, when he went to the West, no, I have the order of my spiritual master and faith in the holy name. Nothing else as such. No, I don't know whether what will happen over here in this place of passion and ignorance. How will these people be able to hear our message also, etc., etc. So it's completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Be it him or any pure devotee you take, you'll always see they always display this quality. Okay, no questions? Yes, ma'am. Can you please repeat? Understood. Embryo, today's word. Yeah. Soul is present in the embryo. No, as soon as the fusion happens in the woman's womb, that time the soul is basically entering. But the consciousness manifests at the seventh month of pregnancy. Yeah. No, he wanted birth. He wanted the suffering of birth. So he's put into that womb and he suffers over. It's as if like you take an adult and put him in a barrel and put a urine, stool and everything into that. That is the condition of the baby in the womb. And put some worms also. Okay, let's sing this Vaishnava song. Almost 9 o'clock. Then we'll conclude for today. Okay. Eko na bhujina Prabhu. Eko na bhujina Prabhu. Kumara charane. Eko na bhujina Prabhu. Kumara charane. Ashoka Bhayamrita Purna Sarvakana Sakala Chadiya Tuva Charana Kamale Diyachi Aminatha Tava Padatale Diyachi Aminatha Avapada Padmanatha Rakibe Amare Har Rakha Karta Nahi He Bhava Samsare Rakha Amitava Nityadasa Janinu Ye Bhara Amara Palana Bhara Ekona Tomara Bada dukho paiyachi Swatantra jivane Dukha dure gelo Upadavarane Vipada lagiya rama Tapasya korila Vipada paiya shiva Shivatvalobhena Vipada labhiya brahma Kritartha hoena Vipada narada muni Vidaye dhorina Vipada narada Dese abhaya pada Shirete dhoriya Paramanande nachi Pada gunagaya Samsara vipada hoite Avashya uddhara Patati vinoda Upada koribe tomar Ikona bhudina Prabhu, Omara charane. Ikona bhudina Prabhu, Omara charane. Read the meaning. Somebody else. This one, no? Of course, this song, we can discuss this song for one class, but very nice one. Okay? Here, fourth one. Okay? Amitava Nityadasa Janino Yebara Amara Palana Bhara Ekona Tumara. Where Bhaktivinoda Thakur essentially what he's telling? See, now I am your devotee. Now my maintenance you only have to look after. At last, I know myself to be your eternal servant, whose maintenance you have assured. Somebody else continue. Ashoka Ayamrita Purna Sarvaka. So Ekona Bhujina Prabhu Tumara Charan. So once we actually situate ourselves at the lotus feet of the Lord, Ashoka Abhaya. Okay? So Shoka and Bhaya are completely eliminated. So this can be the test. To what degree have we actually developed a dependence on the Supreme Lord? To the degree we have become dependent on the Supreme Lord, the sense of lamentation and fear in the heart will get completely eliminated. Okay? And dependence on the Lord means dependence on his devotees. Okay? Dependence on the Lord means dependence on his devotees for that. Okay? Shoka and Bhaya for. So 11th canto of Bhagavatam it comes. Bhayam Dvitiya Abhiniveshatasya. Okay? So person who is dipped and soaked in the duality of this world. No Abhinivesh. He is mad after the duality of this world. Okay? His heart will only be filled with fear. Okay? Heart will be only filled with fear for that. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Pad ki. Okay. So I think many devotees have gone for camp today. Please pray for them. Also, my Guru Maharaj is here in Bangalore. Many factors, health factors, and all of that. Please, if you can take some time to chat some extra rounds or pray for his well-being, I'll be very, very grateful. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
From my statement about the departments. So the one nice point I somehow got to grasp is how Prahlad Maharaj, even was doing so much atrocity, but Prahlad Maharaj was so much dependent on the Lord. He never had any disregard to his father. He was always well wishing. So very nicely brought it next. Because that will be for So with that, 3 o'clock we need for, so as Prabhu told, Maharaj, it is very, let us dedicate this for, right?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.